Good day, folks. Welcome to this episode of John's on the Rock. I'm flying solo today. My son isn't with me. He's busy this weekend doing some schoolwork. But I really felt the need to get outdoors. So it's January the 21st, I think. And yeah, it's my first outing since the Christmas break. And I just felt the need to get out and spend some time outdoors, so I'm in for an overnighter. I'm on the same road that we spent the Christmas hot tenting episode on, but I'm gonna go a little further in the trail. There's a spot I have in mind that's tucked in the deep woods, and so that's my plan. It's a blustery day. It's a little cold today because the wind is up, but it should be a good night. There's not much in the forecast. A chance of some snow flurries or maybe late snow, and then clearing tomorrow morning. So I'm loaded up. I'm headed in. So come along for the ride, and I hope you enjoy the show. This is one of the things that makes winter camping so enjoyable. You have a story laid out in the snow here before you. You've got rabbit tracks, and then you have what looks like to me coyote tracks. They're a little large for fox, and you can see where the fox came in and picked up the rabbit trail and then started to follow the rabbit trail in the woods. And who knows how that story ends. It may have ended well for the coyote or for the rabbit, who knows. But you have the story written in snow, and it only takes a minute to stop and kind of have a look, and you can read it if you have the time and the patience to stop and to take it in and kind of see what's happening. So I've hauled my sled into this little droke of woods. Newfoundland would call that a droke. That's a little thickly wooded group of trees here. And yeah, this is where I'm going to lay down my tent. I may take the shovel and shovel down to the ground or nearly to it, so when the tent starts to settle, because that's one thing that typically happens with a hot tent. If you're just on the snow and there's feet of snow underneath you, your tent will melt the snow underneath it, and over time the tent will, or the stove in the tent will settle. So sometimes you have to prop it up with a couple of logs or sticks or something to keep it from settling too much. But there's not a lot of snow down there. Might be, I don't know, maybe a foot or so of snow. Which is nice. So I haven't got much to shovel away if I do, and I'll level it out, and then I'll set my tent here and get everything all set up, and then see about getting some wood. We're clearing on this side, a little bit more open, and really thickly wooded and sheltered in here. Oh, one other thing too. Before you camp in the woods, you want to take a look around and see if there's any potential dangers, widowmakers, limbs or trees that might fall. I was camping when I first started hot tenting. I've been doing this now maybe for 4 or 5 years, and there was a spot I went to, and there was a large birch tree. Oh, it must have been maybe 1.5 feet in diameter at the base, and the top was broken off. It was an old rotten birch tree, and I camped in this little clearing right next to it a couple of times, and in the back of my mind I was thinking, gee, I hope that doesn't come down in the middle of the night and it wasn't, you know, the couple times I camped there, it wasn't blowing like it is today. And anyway, about a year or so later, I was passing by the area and I looked in, and the birch tree had fallen down. Now, the odds of you being there at that precise moment when the tree fell are probably negligible, but it would certainly mess up your day if you had a birch tree that's frozen solid fall on your tent in the middle of the night. So it's worth you all to have a look around to see if there are any potential widow makers, because like I said, it would spoil your day to have a large tree crashing down on top of you in the middle of the night. Even if it didn't hurt you, it would certainly give you a start. So it's worth you all to take those few minutes to look around and make sure everything's safe. So some of you may have been wondering, how did I convert my just regular summer tent to a hot tent? And it's with the addition of a stove jack. So what this is, it's a piece of fiberglass mat that's been covered with high temp silicone, front and back, and then I've sealed it to the wall of the tent where the stove would exit, or the pipe of the stove would exit the tent. And it's been reinforced on the back with a silicone baking sheet, and that's been kind of riveted to the wall of the tent as well, just to give it some structural stability. So that's basically, so I do that to the wall of the tent and also to the fly, and of course you have to match up the location of the stove jack in your tent with the location of your stove jack in the fly in order to make it all work. You do this at your own risk, because it does come with some inherent risk. But for me personally, the risk is worth the reward of being able to get out here and to just enjoy the sights and sounds of a winter woodland. So the tent is pitched, and I'm much more exposed than I wanted to be. The wind is coming straight off this little clearing, and it's not a very big clearing. It's probably only maybe 30-40 yards across, but it's enough that the wind is kind of funneled right at me, which I kind of debated whether or not I was actually going to try to shift location, but I got a little stubborn. I said, okay, I'll stake it down and throw some weight in it and see what happens. So we shall see. I think the wind is supposed to go light later on this evening or tonight, so if it becomes a factor, we'll just have to tie some guide wires out, or guidelines out, and just deal with it. So now, to get the rest of the gear in the tent, my cot set up, I'm using this cot. This is the one that Aaron slept on during our Christmas trip. It's FE Active, and it's a much lighter. In my big tent, I use it's a Coleman, I think it is, trailhead cot, and they're super heavy. But this one is probably around, I'd estimate, between 5 and 7 pounds maybe. So it's much lighter, and it fits this tent quite nicely. So that's what I'm going to use tonight. I've got everything set up with the tent and the stove. As you can see, I got my stove up, my pipe, my stove put together, set up, everything's set up inside. I just need to get some wood now, and it's already 2:45. It's taken me, I've been taking my time, but the time's getting on now, and I need to go and gather some wood, see if I can find some dead standing maybe in the woods there, and see what I can find, and supplement. I brought some of those compressed sawdust logs. Kind of cheated today because I didn't want to spend 2 or 3 hours gathering wood, or however long it was going to take me, so I'll use that like tonight to keep a steady burn on. But I'd like to have some other wood just as kind of a backup, and also I like to hear the crackling of the fire in the wood stove, and you don't get it quite the same with those compressed sawdust kind of logs. So yeah, so that's planned out to get some wood, come back, light the stove, get it warmed up, and get some supper. And I have a special supper tonight, and so we'll see what that is in a bit. So I'm back maybe 45 minutes, maybe an hour later, with some wood, processed wood for my fire for tonight. I think that should be enough, along with those sawdust logs. And but what you're looking for is something like this. It's called dead standing, and it is exactly what it sounds like. It's wood that is dead, but still in an upright position, so it sheds the water and it doesn't get waterlogged. So see, when you cut through it, you can feel that that's nice and dry. So while it may be a little damp on the outside, inside is bone dry, and makes for some excellent firewood. So after I get these snares made up and get them set, I think then it will be supper time, because I'm getting hungry. It looks like a bit of rabbit action in here in the thick woods by the edge, just by the... So I'm going to see if I can make up some sort of a pound, put in some birch branches, some browse, and see if I can't coax one in tonight. Here's my setup. I've made up a little pound in there, if you can see it or not, but I've got a snare there, and I have one at the back over there, and then I'll put some birch in here to kind of act as a kind of like bait, and yeah, hopefully tonight a rabbit will come along. If a rabbit happens to come along and I snare one, great. If not, no big deal. It's just, like I said, it's just nice to be outside here. So I'm going to break up some of that birch branch that I have there and put it in. And yeah, the wind has died down considerably from what it was. It's still gusting from time to time, but... And then when I'm done here, I'm going to head back to camp just across the clearing and get supper. Hi, I'm having some battery issues with my battery. It's cold, and I just plugged it into my charger. So, about to light the stove, warm the place up, and to get some supper. And yeah, so I just have a little fire kit here. My fire kit consists of a bunch of lighters, matches, the usual stuff, ferro rod, some fat wood, and all fat wood is just, this is just a piece of pine that I had that's it's got a lot of resin in it. You can smell it, you can see it, so it burns quite readily when it's lit. So that's all fat wood is. It's wood with a lot of resin in it, be it pine or spruce or whatever it happens to be. So there's that, and the good old cotton balls dipped in Vaseline. Great fire starter too. Poke that back there, it'll do some good. There we go. Make sure my drafter's open in the back. And it's open at the front. Whew. The wood I'm finding is a little damp, and it's a little problematic to try to get going, but I think I got it solved there now. I got the kettle put on, and I'm soon going to put on my salmon. People ask the question about bears. Well, bears are dangerous. They can be dangerous. But I wouldn't do this in the summertime. If I were hiking and camping, I wouldn't bring my food inside the tent, especially something like some salmon, smoked salmon, to entice a bear and have an issue. So you keep a nice clean camp. Wintertime, it's not an issue because bears are hibernating, and so you can cook whatever you want in a hot tent. So yeah, that wood is not burning like I would like it, but that's it. I guess it'll take a while to build up a bed of coals, and then it'll burn. So I just I was wrapping it in foil. It was already cooked. It was hot smoke. But all I'm going to do is heat it up on my stove and boil the kettle there, if I can, and have some supper. So supper's done. Oh, it was really good, I must say. just warmed the fish on the stove there. I just had some buttered bread and tea. I'm just finishing my tea now, and I just had a Snickers bar for dessert, as it were. I called Heather and spoke with her for a minute. And now it's, I'm not sure even what time it is. It is 10 after 6. And I have no plans to do anything. And it's wonderful. So I'm just going to sit back, relax. I might read something, might watch something on my phone. I'll just tend the stove. And yeah, that's about what my night is going to consist of. Nothing too exciting, but very enjoyable. I'm really enjoying my time up here tonight. It's still windy, still gusty outside at times. I don't think there's anything falling right now. So I'm just going to finish my tea and watch the stove and relax. Good morning. I've been up for a little while just preparing breakfast, put the kettle on. I'm going to make a breakfast bagel sandwich there. I've got my coffee already poured up. Yeah, I had a nice peaceful night last night. You wake quite often to stoke the fire. That's part of the game. And now I'm just frying a couple of eggs. There you go. And now we're going to walk across and check our rabbit snares. And we'll see what we got. Not seeing anything. Looks like there's lots of fresh rabbit tracks around. Nothing in the front. Oh, the one in the back is gone. The snare is gone. Oh, well. Oh, well. That one got away. So, that's that. Bust. It broke the slip. Ah, that happens. Especially with that brass wire. I have to use brass here on the island because of the endangered pine marten. So, that concludes this episode of John's on the Rock. Just a quick overnighter, more relaxing than anything. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one, and hopefully Aaron will be with me on the next one. I've missed him on this trip. So take care. We'll see you on the next one.